Good day. My name is Mike Ehrenstein. I am the president of the Litigation Council of America for 2022. I'm also a business trial lawyer in Coral Gables, Florida. And I'm joined today by Ross Fishman. He is the godfather of legal marketing. And we're here to learn about his top non-Zoom tips to capture and keep clients as we emerge from this horrible pandemic. So first, before we get into it, I have a short disclaimer. I am not objective when it comes to Ross Fishman. He is, in addition to being a great legal marketer, he is a friend, and he is somebody on whose advice I have relied. We've been to dinner together, we've been on the boat together, we've done some things together. But in addition to that, he has really helped me with my marketing. And I'm a big fan, and I think that you all will be too after you hear what he has to say.
Thank you very much. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Again, so what I'd like to review, Ross, is how things have changed with the legal marketing world as a result of the pandemic, and where we're headed from here as we emerge from the pandemic. You know, the other day I had a conversation with a colleague of mine, and I asked her, how have things changed in terms of legal marketing? And she said, it's exactly the same as it has changed in court. We do Zoom. Everything is Zoom. Zoom is the cure for everything. Zoom is wonderful as long as you keep your pants on. Zoom is the greatest thing in the world. And it is. And it was very helpful, and it really has changed the way we do things. But it is not a panacea or a panacea. It is a tool, but one of many. And as we emerge from this pandemic, I'm curious, Ross, if you can help the fellows of the LCA by giving us a few tools that we can use as we emerge to capture and keep clients moving forward in this ever more competitive environment.
Sure. First, let me. It's great to see you. Always great to see you, Mike. And anything I can ever do to help LCA is certainly a pleasure. You know, and let me echo. Zoom has really changed everything, and it's changed how we market. I think in a positive way. It's made us more efficient in a lot of the marketing that we can do, and I think that will continue to benefit us going forward. So I'm delighted to have one more tool in the toolbox. We don't have to fly to California to see people in order to have that interaction. And Zoom is one more efficient way to see more people more quickly. And so I think that's great. The pandemic has changed a lot of other things, obviously. And so some of the things that have changed is that a lot of the things that we normally would do in person, we're forced to do online. That we still have to build our reputation. We still have to have, develop chemistry with people. We've got to expand our network, but we can't do that in person as much. We can't be face to face with people. We can't be taking people out to lunch or out to drinks or out to events as a symphony or opera or sports or whatever we do. And so we've had to move a lot of that stuff online. Zoom is one good tool for that. But a lot of the credentialing that we've had, that we always want to do to prove the quality of our work and our practice, a lot of the ongoing communications that we've done, a lot of those things have moved online. And frankly, we found that they're actually pretty effective. But the challenge with this is that once we've found that this works, it exploded exponentially. There's so much more content. People are writing articles and blogging and sending out alerts and newsletters and posting. And it's just the volume has increased so much because it does work, but now it's a little bit or a lot harder to stand out because there's the volume of the competition has increased so much. So you're fighting to get to the top of the pile in a much larger pile. So some of the things that I'd like to do, I'd like to recommend. First is to enhance your LinkedIn profile. That that we still need to prove the quality of our work. We need to tell our story to people, and updating your LinkedIn biography is a really important way to do that. So I'd like to recommend that people do a better job with their LinkedIn profiles. Another thing that the pandemic has made people nervous and stressed and anxious. And so when in that situation, we tend to buy the proven market leaders. And so I want, my second point, I'd like to encourage people to find some area where they can, an industry group or something, where they can build to become a market leader in something, okay? Find that group where you can be a market leader. Third point, of course, invest in our existing relationships. It feels like we've fallen off the grid. We're at home, we're not with people. You know, many of us go out to lunch every day with someone and just keep our networks, you know, vibrant and active. We can't do that. So we've got to find ways to do more of that, to invest in the relationships, and just remind people that we're out there, stay top of mind with a lot more people. Fourth, find ways to stay in touch more regularly. This is kind of a subset of that, you know, what can we do to just regularly, without too much difficulty, without investing too much time, remind people that what we do and how we do it and why we do it in a way that causes them to remember us when they need the thing that we do, the service that we provide. And finally, I encourage you to use LCA to assist in your marketing and professional development. Get active in LCA. There's a lot of benefits. There's a lot of opportunities there, both inbound and outbound. And I would encourage people to get active with LCA. Those would be my 5 tips.
Wow. Okay. So there's a lot there, 5 tips, and I'm sure there's more to it than just the headline. So what I'd like to do, if it's okay with you, is go back to each one of those on your list and have you explain give us a little more detail on each one. For example, the first one you mentioned was to update your LinkedIn profile. Tell us a little bit more about that. How would you go about doing that? What do you recommend that is included or excluded from that kind of an update?
Sure. You know, LinkedIn is a really powerful resource when it's used correctly, which it often isn't. Too often it's overlooked, it's disregarded as, oh, no one believes that, or no one looks at that. I think the studies all show that people who are interested in hiring you will go to your website bio and your LinkedIn profile, both, because they should have complementary information and told in a different way. There's slightly different information, but LinkedIn is much more informal, much more casual, much more personal, told in the first person usually. And so what it gives you is the opportunity to really express yourself, to really help people see the real you, which your website bio tends not to. And so the problem that I see, the mistake I see lawyers often make with their LinkedIn profiles is that it's basically, you know, name, rank, and serial number. It's just features, I am a litigator, here is what I do, which are exactly the same things that every other litigator does, because you're explaining basically the practice of litigation as opposed to why you should hire me to do the thing that you need. And so I want you to think, to start with, what's my theme? What's the theme? When you go to court, you need a theme. You need to explain to the judge or jury why you should win. What's the evidence that you have? But you need a theory of the case. And I like to have that in LinkedIn profiles too, that I know you're good. I wouldn't be considering you if I didn't already know that you were skilled. So are the other guys that I have on my list. You know, they're also smart and talented and, you know, do litigation things. But why are you a better fit for me? Help me see you. Don't just tell me what you do, but why you do it. I like to bring in something from the person's history or childhood that connects back to why you're so passionate about what you do.
I was curious if you could give us maybe a concrete example. Don't name whoever the person was, but an example of one LinkedIn profile where the theme came out, and what was the theme?
Well, in fact, I will name names because I think that
Okay.
Off the top of my head, two that I wrote and one that I like. One of them is our friend Joe Fozzie. So I would encourage people, go look at Joseph Fozzie II. And I wrote that because it's about Joe. And I think that if you know Joe, you'd read the profile and see, yeah, that really sounds like Joe, and why people would like to have him as their lawyer, that he's just a great guy, brilliant trial lawyer, and he wins lots of cases. But it's because juries like him and they trust him. And he's a humble, modest guy. And so read that and see if you think that how we wrote that expresses that aspect of Joe's personality. I think it clearly shows he's a great trial lawyer, but also it expresses his personality in a way that makes you like him. If that's what you're looking for in your lawyer, you show what Joe is like there. Another one is Peter Sheridan, the California construction lawyer. And construction clients, the developers, they love their work. They're passionate about these projects, and they want lawyers who are passionate too. They want their lawyers to love construction also. And talking to Peter, it was clear that he did too, that he loves construction. And we started with Tinker Toys and Lincoln Logs and erector sets in his childhood to show that he loves building. Now, he doesn't have those skills to be an architect, but he has the passion, and the skills that he does have makes him great at what he does in construction litigation. And I think, and so going all the way back to kindergarten with him, we told his story that relates to his target clients, that they would relate to him. Another one that I like is yours. That yours is much shorter. I might like you to, no, but it's true that in terms of a theme, you know what your theme is. That you have a history, a long history in martial arts. You're a multi-degree black belt, and it informs who you are and how you think and how you approach your life, including litigation. And so, if you want someone who's strategic and approaches, you describe how that works. And so that gives you a theme. I have a litigator over here who was referred to me. I got another one over here. And I have this guy who also seems skilled. Oh, but I like how he thinks. And I like this martial arts connection. It's something that you have that makes you different. And I think you effectively use that to set yourself apart in your LinkedIn profile. I might like you to go into a little greater detail. We could talk about that later, but you've got a theme, and I like that, and I think people will relate to that and appreciate that and think of you in a different, better way than the average litigator.
So that's great. That's helpful. Instead of just regurgitating our bio from the website, be a little more personal and have a theme.
Yeah.
Anything else with respect to LinkedIn that you think we should really focus on?
Well, there's a lot. LinkedIn is a whole hour-long topic, but,
okay.
But I just like to see people, and I'll get to some of these later if we continue through some of the other points, using LinkedIn to stay connected with people. The one thing that I want to reiterate, that LinkedIn is important because people are going to go there anyway before they hire you. So why not do a great job? Even if you're not going to be the kind of person who's like an IBM salesperson trolling around for business on LinkedIn, and some lawyers do effectively. But if that's not who you are, that's okay. That doesn't mean you still shouldn't have a very powerful and compelling LinkedIn profile, because it's just sitting there 24/7, marketing you around the clock. While you sleep, people can be out there reading that and learning the things that you want them to know about you in anticipation of hiring.
Okay. Let's go on to your second suggestion, which was to find something that you can focus on, either being the market leader or becoming the market leader in. Tell us a little bit more about that.
This is probably the point that I feel most strongly about over the decades of my legal marketing career, the niche marketing, industry-based target marketing, that business litigators are everywhere, and it's half the profession. And it's really hard to tell who's the best litigator for any given thing. Everybody seems kind of smart enough, and everybody's resume seems like they do a good job, and people rarely ever lose cases, it seems. And so it's really hard for clients to tell who's better? What do you offer that's different than everybody else? And so what I'd like is, which means marketing a general service to an ill-defined audience, like marketing litigation to America. It's just so hard to get any traction doing that. It's hard to write a marketing plan around that. And so what I advocate is for people to find some trade association, find some smaller group and market to them. The easiest is an industry association, because because then if it's an industry that you have some connection with, some affiliation with, some interest in, then you're a natural fit with that audience. And then if you find that trade association, that's where you do your writing and speaking and networking directly to the clients. And so you become the automatic shortlist for that industry. You just got to be careful that the industry is not so large that you'll never get there. You know, the obvious ones, real estate and healthcare, insurance, construction, those are really big. We want you to find something very small where there's maybe just a few hundred, 500, 1,000 maybe total members, and then do all of your marketing toward that group. If you have my book, I've got a whole chapter on this, what my partner, the ultimate law firm marketing partner checklist. It's available on Amazon, or I'll send you a PDF if you want. But it has a whole chapter on this subject. I feel very strongly about this. If your marketing isn't working as well as you'd like, I would strongly urge you to try to find a trade association, an industry-based group, and market directly to them, and you'll find a lot more success that way.
Okay, let's talk now for a second about the third point which you had raised, which was to invest in existing relationships. So how would you recommend that, even with the pandemic, as it wanes, God willing, and we start getting back out there, how should we go about investing in existing relationships?
You know, whatever you can think of to do, just to get back into public, just to get back, you know, to reminding all the people that you know that you're out there. Out of sight, out of mind is a challenge for every professional. And it's been exacerbated, it's been aggravated by the pandemic when we hunkered down and stayed in. It became harder to do all those things that we always wanted, that we wanted to do in terms of staying in touch with people. And so just pull out your list and find a way to reconnect every day. Try to find a way to make some calls, to send some emails, to reinforce the relationships that you have, so that because, you know, the worst situation is a referral that you would have gotten and then you didn't get because, oh, I totally forgot about you. So you just got to stay top of mind more often with the people you already know well.
Great. And I guess the subset of that was to stay in touch more regularly. How do you suggest that we have a schedule to go by, or, you know, we have to reach out to this potential client once a week or once every 3 months, or how do you go about being regular in that way?
That's a good question. And it really depends on the person. Are you the kind of person who likes to have a schedule? And I know people who do, and they're very effective that way. Every Tuesday at lunch, they sit down and for an hour they do their thing. Or Fridays at 2, you know, they grab a glass of beer and then they do their marketing, and, you know, whatever it is, whatever works for you. So some of the things, and of course, having a schedule, having it in writing is better, because there's a way to measure yourself against your accomplishments. Did you do the thing you committed to do? Because if it's not in writing, it's really easy to say, well, I got really busy, and you are. And so things tend to not get done when there's billable pressure. And there's always billable hours that you need to bill, and you can be making more tangible money that hour doing that and not investing in your future. And so it's better to have something that you can mark off your list. But those things include, you know, sending out the occasional alert or newsletter. Requires a little bit more proactive effort to actually write a thing like that. And so occasionally I would recommend a larger initiative like that. But even just simple things like, again, back to using LinkedIn. LinkedIn is great for staying in touch with lots of people without too much effort. You can share something in a little status update, like it's a Facebook post. Those are great. You dash off a little note, relates to yourself, your practice, or your, friends, your life. And it just reminds people, oh yeah, there's that Mike Ehrenstein again. Oh yeah, I like him. Just stay top of mind that way. So sharing things as you log in and you get a feed, like those things, connect or comment rather on those things, share them with your network, those sorts of things without, spend just a minute and it goes back into the feed of all the people on LinkedIn. So that's a way to stay in touch with lots of people very efficiently. You also get notifications.
Right.
If you have that box checked, that I learned every day I get an email, or I can go to LinkedIn and click notifications and it'll show me all the things that it's somebody's birthday or somebody's work anniversary or someone just won an award or something like that. Each of those things is an occasion to say, hey, it's Mike's birthday. I'm going to connect with him.
Right.
And so it gives me a reason to connect with a lot of people who I might not otherwise have a reason to reach out to them. If I don't know them that well, it's a little awkward sort of picking up the phone and calling. But you can do that easily on LinkedIn.
So I have to say, when I get the perfunctory happy birthday from somebody that I've seen once in my entire life, I don't put or twice in my entire life. It doesn't create traction.
It doesn't. It does remind you that they're out there.
Right.
Briefly, but that doesn't mean you're going to think that much more fondly of them. But that's an excellent point. We don't want to just use the click for thumbs up,
right?
Or congrats on your new job, or the autofill that they have. Don't use those autofills. What you need to do is spend that time to say happy birthday and then something else, just a sentence or two, no more than that, but just something that shows that you expended some effort and you didn't just go click, 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 click to everything that you were notified of that day. But you're absolutely right.
I think
make a positive impression.
The technology has made staying in touch so easy and perfunctory that it gets to the point where it loses meaning. If I'm getting in touch with somebody, I try to say something authentic and genuine.
You're an authentic and genuine person, Mike. You're good at that. It comes naturally to you. And for many of us, it doesn't, but we can still follow those good habits because that's exactly right. Of course, that's what we should be doing. And so we should take that to heart when in all of our communications, never perfunctory, never formulaic, right. Always do as you're suggesting, add a little of yourself to it, a little more human connection.
Got it. And the last of the top 5 non-Zoom points, I think for me, probably the most important one is to continue using the LCA to expand your networks and connections.
Well, we should do this one together. First of all, I mean,
sure.
You're the definitive example of how to use LCA effectively. That you've done all the things that marketers like me recommend. You've been visible, you've been active, you attend the conferences, you bring your lovely wife, and who's also very good at networking. You're
my chief marketing officer.
She is.
Right.
but you're there with intention, with a goal, that you're having a good time. It's clear. Because you enjoy the people, you're one of the usual suspects, which is what happens after you go a few times and you become a regular. You're like Norm at Cheers. People are happy to see you, and that's what happens at LCA, because it's a very connected community of insiders, and those insiders are created just by repetition, by being there. They're smart, they're great lawyers, but they're really nice people. But if you go once and leave and you never come back,
right,
you get the nice black tie, formal photo, but you really haven't leveraged what LCA offers. And so,
Agreed.
so everybody knows you because you've done the things that people do who are known. And you can do that as you do, just because you enjoy people, or you can do that strategically and intentionally. Do it on purpose with the goal of using LCA as an effective marketing tool.
And it is. I have to say, the resource that LCA has provided, at least to me, has been tremendous, not just because it's fun and we go and we have a great time in great locations and we have good food and good music, all of which is true.
All of which is true.
But in addition to that, we really do have some great lawyers. All of the lawyers are great lawyers.
Yep.
And, nice people that are easy to work with. And so when I've had a need to find local counsel anywhere, I had an instance last week where a client in Florida had an issue in Arizona, and I could answer his questions for him applying Florida law, but I didn't know anything about Arizona law. So we'd go to the LCA directory, and sure enough, there's one of the fellows whom I know is out there, and I was able to get a quick answer for a client in need, which was great. It was a great service to the client. It was a great introduction. That client is going to end up needing his representation taken care of out in Arizona. And I've used it also for local counsel. I have a case pending in New York where I've reached out to, I'm representing the Republic of Angola in some pretty hefty litigation in the Southern District of New York. And I'm not a Southern District of New York lawyer. So I was fortunate enough to be able to forge a really good professional relationship, and more importantly, a really good friendship with Mark Rosen of Kleinberg Kaplan, who, LCA fellow whom I wouldn't have met but for through the LCA. So, I think that the opportunities that the LCA provides to not just refer to each other or work together, but to even market together are pretty deep and extraordinary.
Yeah, I think that you raise a good point, that it's good for education. The social aspect is terrific as well. But then professionally, inbound, outbound, it's nice to have an established network of people who are excellent, already vetted. And so you can work with them in a lot of different ways, and you can meet some extraordinary lawyers at LCA. I also like using LCA's marketing resources that leverage the marketing that you're doing using LCA's resources. Contact Beth if you've written an article, have it republished in LCA commentary. There's a lot of marketing opportunities and marketing tools that LCA offers to the fellows that not enough fellows take advantage of. And it's another way to expand your reach to a larger audience.
Agreed. Ross, thank you for your top 5 tips, non-Zoom tips, on how we can continue to keep and capture new clients as we emerge from the pandemic. Your wisdom and knowledge is really helpful, and your friendship is much appreciated.
Always a pleasure speaking with you, Mike. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Thank you.